Well, good afternoon. Okay, so there's a microphone in front of me, but you don't hear a super loud microphone in the room, do you? The microphone is actually for our guests that are attending our quarterly meeting via Zoom. So Carl is monitoring the sound and the audio and video in the back. Abby's letting folks in the Zoom, so we have a lot of folks that are joining us by Zoom. So through the pandemic, this is now one of the things that will probably end up being a norm, is a blended meeting where people can attend either in person or virtually. So as the room may look a little smaller than it used to, we have a lot of folks that are attending via Zoom, and we appreciate that. So we've got a great agenda for our quarterly meeting today. I'm going to hit a few highlights real quick. My name is Lisa Morales. I'm the director of East Alabama Works. Again, we have Carl Brady from our team and Abby Howell. We're also joined by our board president, Kelvin Wright. Kelvin, we appreciate you and everything that you do, not only taking care of Bridgewater on a day-to-day basis, but also being our board president. So we have a few things coming up. We have a survey for non-degree credentials. It's imperative that we find out all of those degrees that are out there that are eligible for our employees and employers. So we have a survey link that's on the screen in front of you. Most of those survey links are rather lengthy, so I have shortened them up to be a little bit easier. It's also on your agenda. If you are attending via Zoom, the agenda is in the chat box, and you can pull that up. On the back of the agenda, you will see QR codes. We love QR codes, so they can easily be accessed, so you can pull up that information as well. I pulled up that survey. It is a Google Doc, so you see how many questions that you're going to have to complete right from the very beginning. You're not going to start with question one and feel like you're going to be taking that survey for the next 45 minutes. You will see the exact questions. It's very easy to complete. So if you have a moment, please take a moment and complete that survey. Next up is Worlds of Work. So at your seat, you will see the Worlds of Work student book. This is the book that we provided to our students, to our educators. It gives you a little glimpse of what Worlds of Work was all about. We'll talk a little bit about that as well. Worlds of Work was held right here in the Oxford Civic Center a little over a month ago. Hard to believe that at that point in time, we had 8,206 students that visited Worlds of Work for 3 days. Now, Thelma, I see you smiling and nodding because I know you were a volunteer as well as many others in the room. So you know that we had 8,206 students, don't you? We had a great time with our students. Every one of our workforce counties was represented, all 7 counties. We had all 16 of our public school systems that participated as well. 102 schools attended Worlds of Work, public, private, and homeschool. We had about 100 career presenting companies and 1,200 volunteers over 3 days. So that was a really exceptional opportunity for East Alabama Works to share our mission, as well as our employers to share those career pathways. So before you are a few images from Worlds of Work, so you can kind of see some of the career pathways that students were working on. As you can see, all hands-on. Everything that the students did and learned from was hands-on. So if the power goes out or if the gas lines don't work, we know that we're going to have some great guys and gals that are coming up behind us to make sure that we stay with gas and power and heat and electricity and water. A little glimpse of healthcare. So you see them doing some robotic surgery, also intubating a patient. We also had probably over the 3 days about 1,600 babies born right here at Worlds of Work. So you may ask, how did you have 1,600 babies born at Worlds of Work? We had a birthing simulator upstairs on the second floor of this building, and students, along with the career presenting companies, which was RMC at that station, they birthed over 500. They were working on 525 one day. I think one day they got about 575. So we had a great time in our healthcare world. So you see them in manufacturing, On the right-hand side is our students from Wadley. They had a great time with the team from Kronospan. So they all got a little piece of wood that they took home. So that is probably the longest board, the longest piece of flooring in the world right there. And then a little glimpse into transportation and construction. And again, everything is all hands-on. And then we had a great speaker, Dr. Eric Mackey from the State Department of Education, our state superintendent. Dr. Mackey, we have tried to get him here for the last 6 years. This year, it was imperative for him to be here and be part of Worlds of Work. So we were the first hands-on career expo in the state that got back to an in-person event. We loved our virtual event, but really we're excited to get back to that hands-on or that in-person event. So we want to recognize our state award winner with work-based learning. So at the state last week, Beautiful Rainbow Cafe from Gadsden City Schools was recognized as a state award winner. They won in the category of work-based learning for K through 12 schools. There were 4 award winners, and we were really excited to see Beautiful Rainbow Cafe. If you are in the Gadsden area, Etowah County area, please stop in and see them. They do a phenomenal job with lunch. They do it at the Gadsden Public Library. They do great desserts, great beverages. So take time and go in and see them. It is all run by the students. Chip Rowan is their faculty advisor. He makes sure that they stay legal and do everything they need to do. But these guys and gals are paid. So it is truly work-based learning. So we were very excited for them to represent Region 2, but also our K through 12 schools. So some upcoming events that we have going on. So we're offering leadership skill training. These are still virtual, so in May, we'll be doing Leadership Skills 2. You'll see a few of the components of Leadership Skills 2. It is a one-day class. Leadership Skills 3 is in June. It also, you will see those, a few of those topics. The virtual classes are at no cost because we are able to host those without having to incur costs for food. The July class will start back to an in-person, and there'll be a small charge for that. There's really nothing that replaces in-person. Virtual is great, but sometimes that in-person is good as well. We will offer in-person probably 6 times each year, or 6 classes rather, Leadership Skills 1, 2, and 3. And then another series of Leadership Skills 1, 2, and 3. Those will be in person for the rest of the year, starting in July. And then next year, in 2023, we'll do a series of virtual. And then that accommodates everybody that, that would want to participate in leadership. So our AlabamaWorks webinar series, we had the last one yesterday. It was a great presentation. The next one's going to be Monday, May 16th. You can always find it on Facebook Live, or Facebook, AlabamaWorks. So join that. It's always, it's 1 hour long. It's always great information. So last year, the STEM Council, which was brand new at that time, they had an externship. They did an externship with our K through 12 educators. We also did an externship through the Alabama Automotive Manufacturers Association with college students or college instructors. I see Dean Smith here. I know that he nominated 2 from Gadsden State that participated and did a really great job. So this year we're wanting to expand it. The STEM Council wanted to start small and then continue to grow that program. So if you are looking for information on the STEM externship, so obviously we're looking for STEM educators. That's science, technology, engineering, and math. Really heavy on that math and also in that science area. We're looking for teacher applicants and employer applicants because we want to make sure that we have a variety of employers that we can go visit. The deadline to apply is coming up, so it's April 30th of 2022. On the back of your agenda is also a link that will take you to the externship application and information. So when looking at career presenters for our quarterly workforce meetings, you're always looking for new information, something that you haven't heard before, something you haven't seen. We are all struggling with workforce. Our state is struggling with workforce. We don't have enough people in the state as it is. We need to bring more people from outside the state to come in and see our beautiful state and then stay here and work. So what better presenter to have than somebody who is involved in an event that is bringing thousands of people to Alabama? So we've got Mike Oatridge. Mike is a great friend to East Alabama. He's a great friend to Workforce. He has been on the Alabama Workforce Council. Mike, I'm going to put you on the spot. Are you still on the AWC? No. Okay. He's recently rolled off. I thought you might still be on there. He recently rolled off after a tenure of probably, 10 years? It was time to maybe roll off. It's not a lifetime commitment. And so Mike has graciously agreed to come and present Alex. It is the Alabama Experience. It's part of the World Games. Again, bringing thousands of people to Alabama. Let's tap into that resource. So I'm going to turn it over to Mike and let him share a little bit about Alex.
Thank you. Hey, everybody. I know some faces in the room. I was the Senior Vice President of the Honda facility here in Lincoln for about 20 years. I retired a year ago, January, and I went out to lunch with Greg Barker, who is the President of EDPA. And never do that because you get unretired immediately. He actually asked me to help recruit electric car business into the state, and I told him every car company in the state will hate you if I do that because we can't hire anybody as it is. So this idea came from the event that we do at the Barber Motorsports Park when the Indy is running, where we recruit people into jobs that are available in the state that they don't know about. So it's called the Alabama Experience. It's going to debut at the World Games. The World Games is a great opportunity. We're going to have about 600,000 people coming into the state that normally aren't here. We're going to have about 3,600 athletes from over 100 countries, and they'll bring about another 10,000 staff and trainers and so on with them. Huge opportunity to show off our state. It'll run from the 7th through the 17th. So the idea, the strategy is quite simple. When I started at Honda 25 years ago here, we put up a help wanted sign. AIDT helped us out. We had 1,200 initial jobs, and we got 64,500 applications. That was normal. There was more people than there were jobs. Today, it's the exact opposite. There are more jobs than there are people. And I always tell Greg Canfield what a great job he's done because he's created this problem. But really, people are no longer just looking for a job, an opportunity. That's not enough anymore. People want to understand, if I take that job, what kind of education is available for me? What kind of funding for that education is available for me? What kind of education is available for my kids? That leads to a quality of life. What's my life going to look like? And finally, what does my lifestyle look like? You can't sell a job. You have to sell a lifestyle. That's why 60% of the graduates from the University of Alabama, University of Auburn, and the other four-year colleges leave the state after they graduate. 60%. 80% of out-of-state graduates leave after they graduate. Main reasons? They just don't know. Interestingly enough, Alabama has a very low cost of living, plenty for education, great employment opportunity, and a state rich in culture and sport. But I was asked to come to Alabama 25 years ago, and I said no. Why would I want to move to Alabama? I have sat on an airplane where I'm having a casual conversation with somebody beside me, and I say I'm from Alabama, and they say, I'm sorry. Nobody wants to hear that in this room, but it's the truth. We don't have a problem, we have an image problem. Here I am 25 years later, and it'd take kicking and screaming at a team of horses to pull me out of the state because I don't want to leave because it's a great place. So how do we convince people in a short period of time what it took me the first 2 or 3 months to understand once I moved here? Focusing on people that are currently in universities throughout the state, focusing on people that want to change to a 2-year degree but just don't know it, and focusing on people from out of state or even out of country. So we're going to set up at the World Games. We've named the event Alex. Alex is a female, Alex is a male, Alex is white, Alex is black, Alex is Hispanic. Alex can be anybody, Alex is you. We marketed it in that way so that everybody can understand Alex. You'll also see a Where's Waldo campaign throughout the World Games. Have you met Alex? Have you seen Alex? There'll be t-shirts, there'll be banners, that kind of stuff about, some hype around Alex. Alex will be a huge tent. It's 120 feet by 120 feet, little over a third of a football field. It's going to be located right at the entrance to the World Games Plaza, where there'll be 5 major concerts, including Big Boy, Nelly, some really big bands. And once Microsoft found out about it, they wanted to be part of the World Games, as long as they were right beside Alex. I work with Microsoft every other Tuesday, now it's every Tuesday, and Microsoft will focus on HBCUs in the state. They're actually going to recreate the yard inside their tent and show how Microsoft products are integrated into everyday life by recreating one iconic building from the 15 HBCUs in the state. It will be complementary to what happens in Alex. So how does Alex work? It's basically focused on 3 main areas: advanced manufacturing, health services, and IT. If we fix those 3 main sectors, we hit about 31% of all of the open jobs in the state today. How do we do it? By having people experience opportunity, education, quality of life, and lifestyle as they travel through an event space within the World Games. The event space will start off with some sparklers, and every time you see black circles, there's an interaction with a handheld device. There'll also be very high quality videos on really cool looking towers. These are 15 feet tall and 12 by 12 video towers that will have interviews by like the bartender at Good People Brewer, or the lifeguard down at the beach, or a guy in a race car at Barber, or. And on the other side will be all of the beautiful landscapes throughout the state. At the very back, if you've ever been to the event, or ever been to, what's it called, Epcot Center down in Florida? Have you ever been to the show Soarin', where you get on and it takes you through all those places? This video will do that, but from an Alabama perspective, with somebody coming to Alabama on a business trip, looking out a window at a hotel, actually in Mobile, experiencing Alabama and then deciding to stay and have a family here. The idea is that this event has to be interactive and entertaining, because nobody is coming to the World Games with the intent of getting a job in Alabama and moving here. We have to change their mind. And we're going to do that by creating, first, a place they want to be, which is a football field size air-conditioned space in July in Alabama. What is it going to look like? This is the inside of the tent. There'll be a robotic korfball. There'll be a motion capture system. There'll be sets of kiosks and a lot of video entertainment. There'll be kiosks with large monitors for everybody to see, and it'll flow through this space like this. Again, this is about 120 by 120. There'll also be an area for each of the 7 workforce areas to showcase their area of the state. The idea is that we spend about 2 to 3 minutes at each kiosk, a very short period of time. But we're able to impact a lot of people that way through a very interactive and high intensity information. So we're going to have about 50,000 people go through, but you'll see why I say 100,000 people in a second. So as we go through the event space, we're going to give you a souvenir. So remember, souvenirs outside this place are going to probably cost, what, 30 bucks for a t-shirt? I'll give you this beautiful thing for all of you to have for free. All you have to do is give me your name and your telephone number and your zip code. And if you're anything like me, my name is Bob, my phone number is 123456, and my zip code is 12345. I don't care. I now have something to tag to this part of the tag, which is an RFID tag. It will follow you through the entire experience. And as you go through the experience, you're going to go through what career opportunities are available, what educational opportunities are available, what your life would look like in Alabama, and then what region you picked you can go to experience a one-on-one conversation with somebody from that region. So how does it work? First, we got to get them in the tent. Maybe this isn't enough. Maybe the air conditioning isn't enough. But if you saw somebody in a suit like that with no cameras around it, and it was mapping to a 18:9 screen, and you had the opportunity to put that suit on, and not only that, it wasn't that funny looking character, it was a skeleton, you'd probably be intrigued. On this side, you can challenge an industrial robot to a game of korfball, which is one of the major events at the World Games. It's kind of like basketball meets frisbee football. Along this back screen while this is going on, there is a 48-foot by 9-foot video screen going on. It shows all of the healthcare jobs in the state in a very cool and interactive way. It shows robots manufacturing airplanes, manufacturing vehicles, manufacturing chemicals in the state. In the center, kind of Tony Stark-like, information will be moving back and forth showing how the IT network supports all of this. The idea is that while they're watching all this, they're starting to say, hey, robots are kind of cool. I wouldn't mind working with robots. I didn't know Mercedes-Benz used robots to build cars, because most people don't. And they start making connection. And while they're there, there's a kiosk similar to this in front of them with a Microsoft touchscreen on it. And the Microsoft touchscreen asks them 3 simple questions. Did you like the robots? Did you like the IT? Or did you like the healthcare side of this? In this scenario, I liked the robots. Did you know we build cars, airplanes, and chemicals with robots? Which one of those are you interested in? I'm interested in cars. Did you know that there are production jobs, technical jobs, and engineering jobs available in the state? Which one of those interests you? I'm interested in a production job. Instantly, all of the jobs in the state show up. All of the open jobs in the state show up by each region. And this is where normally people's mouths drop open and they go, I can make $50,000 a year with a high school diploma if I get a job in automotive. Also, these companies are hiring. Bridgewater, if you want to be a sponsor, your name will be up there. If they click, but I'm only really interested in staying in Birmingham. So I'll click on Birmingham and the specifics for Birmingham only will show up. Sometimes they're going to find out there are no jobs in the region. In healthcare, that actually happens, where they click on it and there are no jobs in that region. So they might click to a different one. Sorry, I'm clicking ahead. At this point, the last screen, they'll be prompted to go to the education section. In the education section, from now on, all of the screens are monitored above their heads. They'll start off with a video that will make anybody want to go to college in the state, because it'll have nothing to do with actually learning anything. It's going to be football games, it's going to be the art at HBCUs, it's going to be all that fun stuff that happens in the state. After that, they're going to say, hey, you picked a job that only requires a high school diploma. Did you know that if you got a 2-year degree, you can make $12,000 more? And did you know that somebody will pay for you to go to school? There are federal programs, state programs, and employer programs. We just finished talking about Mercedes-Benz has a program, Honda has a program, Toyota has a program, because they're so short on electricians and millwrights that they'll pay somebody to go to school if they work for them after they go to school. Most people don't know this as well. We're also, in the last screen, are showing statistics. In doing interviews with people of why they didn't go to college, a lot of people say, well, I couldn't afford it and I didn't want to go on to financial aid. They're too proud to do that. Anybody want to guess what percentage of people going to UAB are on financial aid? 96%. Blew me away. But when they start seeing that, people are going to say, well, everybody does that. I might as well do it too. Finally, they get to the lifestyle careers back here. And the very first thing they do is they start to do a comparison. I want to compare Birmingham to Atlanta because I want to move to Atlanta, like my son wants to move to Atlanta. Well, in Atlanta, you'd have to make almost $11,000 more to have the exact same lifestyle you have at Birmingham. You'd make $51,000 in Birmingham, but you'd have to make whatever that is, $63,000 to live in Atlanta. And if you click on any of these buttons, is it housing? Is it education? Is it entertainment? What is it that's causing the cost of living to go up? Depending on how old you are, because we guessed that when you walked into the booth, in this case, you were 11 years old, it will monetize it. It'll say, did you know $11,000 is the same amount of money that you could buy 2 Nintendo Switches every single month for the rest of your life? Now, if you're 40, we won't put that there. We'll put a house. You can have this house instead of this house, or so on and so on. We'll also show you all of the featured events from the area that you picked. These areas were not picked randomly. These are where we're losing 90% of the students that are graduating from our 4-year colleges. And finally, it's going to say Honda, Mercedes, and Hyundai are interested to talk to you about a job at their facility. To do that, take out your cell phone and scan this QR code. And the very first thing that shows up in your phone is, "Hi Bob, phone number 123456. Is this information correct?" And the answer is no. Do you want to be connected to these companies to apply for a job? Do you want to know more? Yes. Then correct the information. They go in and correct it. Do you want to apply directly? Yes. They hit a button, the information is automatically sent to those companies. What's cool is everything they clicked on, everything they saw, how long they looked at it. So if I only clicked on Birmingham, I never clicked on another city, and I only clicked on healthcare, and I only clicked on a lab technician, I know that. I know how long you spent looking at it. I know exactly what you looked at, what you didn't look at. Which allows me to, oh, I missed a section, sorry. The last section, when they leave, is this section outside, so your workforce region will have this section with job opportunities, facilities, and points of interest on the way out. And if you don't have a cell phone, there'll be kiosks out there for you allowed to finish the experience. What's cool? Yeah, we end up with job pairing. We end up with a good registration, not a whole bunch of bogus information. But can you imagine the follow-up? Instead of a random email, "Hey, Joe from Nashville, I know you went to the World Games on this date. I hope you had a nice time. I know you were interested in healthcare jobs in the Tuscaloosa region. Did you know that this company is hiring? Do you want us to send your information to them?" That type of stuff doesn't exist. So this allows us to do incredible personalized follow-up from the 600,000 people that were expecting at this event. So then you go home and you're sitting on your back porch having a glass of water, and you're telling your friend about this cool place you went at the World Games, and they pull out your cell phone and you scan this QR code, and your friend can have the exact same experience on his cell phone without ever going to the World Games. So these tags will go back to over 100 countries. They'll go back to over 600,000 people's houses, and we're going to expand it even further because every time they click, they get a brand new entry. And we start collecting all this data on people, and we start changing people's minds about what it is to live and work in the state. So when we started doing this, we really wanted to change the idea of Alabama. World-class opportunity, world-class education, world-class state image. It's going to be like Epcot Center for workforce is the best way I can describe this. We ended up doing career pairing, but we're going to end up with some things we didn't expect when we started off. A very, very powerful workforce data set, an Alex event system that we will reuse for the year after the World Games in the 6 remaining workforce regions. She wanted me to do it this year, and I said no. But next year, whether it's World of Work or something else, or maybe more than one, we'll also end up with an Alex web interface that will live on in perpetuity. Because when we're doing this, 65% of the cost to put on this, and it's very expensive to put on at the World Games, is reusable, which means we can use it over and over and over again to allow us to spread the word about what a great place this is to live, work, and live. So during the World Games, we can use those assets to really build a healthy economy and try to counter the good work that the Department of Commerce has done in bringing in companies. we're going to end up with a really interesting set of data that's never been used before. Every time I present this, people say, hey, you can use this data for this. One of the ones was, if you are less than 10 years old, you'll go through this anonymously. Actually, I think it's 16. You'll go through it anonymously. You won't have a name, you'll just be anonymous. But if every single person that goes through anonymous, none of them are interested in manufacturing, and none of them are interested in IT, they all want to be a nurse, then we have a problem in our curriculum that we need in the schools to say, did you know that these other jobs exist and what's going on? So a really interesting set of data we're going to end up with. And then, of course, we're going to use this throughout the state. We're already starting to target some areas, such as the Hangout Music Festival, targeting more on IT, Talladega Race, focusing on maybe construction workers and those kind of things, but tailoring the jobs to the event that we're set up in. And that's all I got. Any questions for me?
I have one question. I see these list of businesses that are already participating. Is there still time to engage?
Yes, there is. We're trying, this is an interesting one. So far we've got, I think, 10 sponsors. So originally, where the workforce regions were, we're going to have companies set up there, and the companies fed back, I don't want to staff something for 11 days, 10 hours a day. And they said, can we do it a different way? And then she came and said, hey, can I come and help? And I said, hey, there's a great idea. We can staff with people from the region, therefore they can talk about many jobs, not just one. And a really long answer. Yes, but we're trying to limit it to about 20 to 25 companies. But if you're interested, yeah, reach out to me. So far, everybody we've asked to sponsor has said yes. So, because you're basically getting 7 events for the price of 1. Just so you all know, this is already fully funded for the World Games. Where we're looking for sponsorship is the money to make it go on for the year after the World Games. But this is 100% done. And those suits, the really cool suits, my whole family was wearing them yesterday in my living room. They're really cool. Any other questions?
For the wages showing, you know, when they click on the employment opportunities, where is that information coming from?
So there are, so I can get into a lot of details. On the kiosk version, the information is coming from, it's AIDT, it's a database out there. I can't remember the name, it's like 4 letters. I can't think of it. AIDT people did it. Not AIDT, EDPA people did it. And we have validated all that data. And we're only updating it once a month because none of this will be on Wi-Fi. Everything will be fixed at the location so that we don't have to worry about a million cell phones in there. But it's all coming from, I'll find out, I can't remember it. But it's updated and we validated the data with the experts in each one of the fields.
After you go home from the event, you said you will scan the card. Is there another way to access it besides the card?
Yes, it's dark right now, so don't try and go there, but if you'll type in the AlabamaExperience.com or .org or something like that, I can't remember off the top of my head, and it'll take you down that path as well. That site will be rolled out shortly as kind of a hype prior to the World Games, but yeah, it'll be available. The software is really, I had the first opportunity to go through the software last Friday, and last Thursday, it blew me away. It's really easy to use, and the way we did it with only 3 questions on the front end and all the questions on the back end will entice people, and there'll be value in it. Before we ask for your real name and your phone number and your address and all that kind of stuff, we're going to provide value to you first, and then you'll go, okay, that's worth it to me. Any other questions? Well, thank you for having me today. If you do have any questions, Lisa knows how to, she always finds me.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, Mike, I know why the question was asked about where the data comes from as far as salary information. Those are our friends at the Alabama Career Center system. So I imagine you guys are probably engaging Fitzgerald Washington and the Alabama Department of Labor for a lot of that information.
It's actually a national database it comes from, and it's like IC, I don't want to say the letters because I don't know them off the top of my head.
But that's the reason I asked.
Yes. They're actually using, for the jobs wasn't hard. To find about communities and cost of living was much more difficult. So, and then do comparisons. For example, Nashville isn't just the city. Nashville includes the entire county. And Birmingham, strangely enough, is backwards. Usually the most expensive places to live are downtown core. And of course, Birmingham's surrounded like Mountain Brook, Vestavia, and Homewood, and they're the most expensive. So it's kind of strange, the more we get into this, how to do those comparisons. But the cost of livings are, I mean, like, New York City is like 247% more expensive to live than Birmingham. Yeah, you can bet for that. And I can always tell the person in the room that transplanted there, like me, because they all smile when I say what I said about, you know, once you move here, then you realize. But it takes you moving here.
So, Mike, you also mentioned that let's just say people were at the World Games, they identified with our workforce region here in East Alabama, and that we would get that information. Is it also going to go into any of the systems that the Governor's Office of Education and Workforce Transformation, Nick Moore and his team are putting together?
So the data is the most interesting. Oh, sorry, I gotta go over here. They can't hear me. The data is by far the most interesting part of this, and when we started off, we had no idea that we'd be able to collect this much data. The data will be housed initially by the foundation section of EDPA, and we're gonna make that available to public entities within the state that work on workforce. Companies who want to get the data, we will probably license the data back to them. But yeah, we're really working through exactly how to house the data. There is, of course, a whole bunch of protections because there's personal data involved and all that kind of stuff. So we're making sure we're checking all those boxes, crossing all those T's. But yes, we should have more data than we know what to do with for the first time ever, probably, in this arena. So,
Fantastic. Thanks, Mike. I appreciate it. Any other questions for Mike? As you can see, a lot of work has gone into it. Literally, when he presented Alex a little snippet, I said, we want you to be at Worlds of Work this year. We will beta test on 8,000 eighth graders. What better arena than Worlds of Work? And we realized, you don't want to trump anybody, and so we don't want to trump the World Games by beta testing on a bunch of eighth graders. But we will welcome you back to East Alabama anytime. But go ahead and mark March of 2023, and I'll send you those exact dates via email.
thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Appreciate you. And he's over here working on videos as we speak, so he's not just over here playing Wordle or anything. He is actually working on videos that are going to be part of the World Games. So, next, our speaker is Sunnie Cotton. Sunnie has been a great friend also to East Alabama. Sunnie is from this area. She went to college, she returned, and since she returned, she has been a superstar and champion for our workforce region with everything that she touches. Now she is touching the lives through a WIOA, or Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act program. And I'm going to let Sunnie tell a little bit about that program. She's done a great job. There's nothing more fulfilling, I think, than really starting a program from scratch. And that's what United Way did when they applied for a WIOA grant to be a youth provider, and they found the perfect program manager with Sunnie. So, Sunnie, I'm going to turn the floor over to you, and I'll give you the clicker as I pass.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Lisa. That was such a kind introduction. Mike, going back to what you said earlier about we need to change the image for Alabama, I'm afraid that a few years ago, I did not help that. I was in Delaware at a conference. I was really nervous. It was my first big girl conference. And I walked in all eager and bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, and somebody said, "Hey, is Sunnie Cotton your real name?" And I said, "Yes, how did you know my name?" And they said, "You have on a name tag?" So I am trying to work on that and help change the image for Alabama and the workforce here. And I'm really excited to be part of the initiative. There is so much opportunity here in the state of Alabama, and it's really fun to be part of, just informing people about all of the opportunities that we have in this state. I struggle with time management, and I have been given a time limit, as I should, and so I will be setting a timer for myself, and there will be a loud signal that will go off. So if you hear it, it's just my timer. Don't worry about me. I'm working on my time management, and I'm starting it now. But thank you again to East Alabama Works and for Lisa for asking me to present about Workforce Connections. I am so excited to talk about this program. That's one reason I struggle when I speak about it and go over my time, because I love to talk about it. So let's get into it. What is Workforce Connections? Well, here, I'm going to go ahead and take this too, because I'm a mover. Thank you, Carl. I also move a lot, so let's go ahead and grab the mic. What is Workforce Connections? I am excited to tell you. We are a collaborative program among community education and community partners working with at-risk youth in Calhoun County. We are housed at United Way of East Central Alabama, but we are funded through the Workforce Innovation Opportunity Act, WIOA. We focus on providing skills trainings, internships, work readiness, direct connections to local and in-demand sectors. But most importantly, what we do is we support at-risk youth through mentorship, case management, advocacy. There's a lot that goes into this program. We work with a group of students that have been through lots of different things, and they've got some traumas working against them. They've got, home, like their families working against them sometimes. There's so much that goes into what we do. It is challenging. I've learned so much. We've adapted a few things to meet some needs that we have seen. But it is incredibly rewarding. Like Lisa said, this program was basically built from scratch, and what an honor and privilege it has been to carry that out. And we do a lot of advocacy, more than what you might think, and sometimes even when it comes to just helping a student get their driver's license because their parents are working against them. They want them maybe to stay at home and help take care of a family member. They know once they get their license, they're gaining some independence. But I will work to advocate for that student. If that student wants to, get their driver's license, we will help them do that. So again, there's a lot that goes into it. I could go on and on. What we really want our students to recognize is, first of all, I always like to ask them what's your definition of success? And it's very interesting a lot of times, but what I want them to realize and know is that, success is really not the key to happiness. Happiness is the key to success. And if you love what you're doing, you're going to be successful. I think we can all vouch for that in our jobs and our careers that we truly enjoy. We want to pour more of ourselves into the purpose that we feel that we have. And I know I certainly feel that way. Another big thing that I try to get them to think about is the why. Why are you doing what you're doing? So I'll say I was at a school yesterday and I walked around the room and I had everybody tell me their name and then what they wanted to be when they grow up, And somebody said, I want to be a welder. I want to be a nurse. And I'd say, why? You know how interesting it is when you ask somebody what they want to do for the rest of their life and they don't know why? They don't know. So I tell them, if you don't know why you're doing what you're doing, don't waste your time and don't waste anybody else's time. And find something different. Find your why. And then you have to know how. So then I follow up with, how are you going to do that? Well, that's where we step in. And I kind of love it when they don't know, because that means that there is a need that we can fill. And so one thing that we do when we're trying to help kind of figure out how we're going to help every participant that we work with is, we want to know what they want to do. So we find out, okay, what do you want to be when you grow up? I don't know. Okay, what do you enjoy? What's something that you could talk about for hours on end? What lights your world up? What are you What do you feel what feels meaningful for you? What are the things that drain you? What are the things that kind of take life from you? What are the things that stress you out? Because whatever you're going to do in your life, you want to be working with, with your, with the way that you're built. You want to be working with the way that you're designed, not working against it. I tell students all the time, when I was growing up, I wanted to be a nurse, which everybody wants to be a nurse now, which is shocking considering where we've just come from, but they do, which is great. But I wanted to be a nurse because I love to help people. But as I got older and I realized that math is not my thing, science is not my thing, test taking is not my thing, nursing is not going to be my thing. It's not. Sorry, Sunnie, it's just not going to happen for you. And so I try to help them understand that, there's nothing wrong with not being good at math. There's nothing wrong with not being good at English. There's nothing wrong with not being the strongest academic person. But if you can find your strengths and you can capitalize on those, wow, you've hit the jackpot there. So we want them to find what helps them tick, what makes them move, what makes them work. Because we all know in this room, you cannot motivate people. You can stand here all day long and, I'll tell you, I have tried to motivate. I have really tried everything that is in me. I have tried. At the end of the day, it's up to that person. And man, you can't control people, which totally stinks. But, free will is a good thing. Sometimes it's hard, though, when working with at-risk youth. So there are many different paths to success, and what we focus on is helping our participants think about if they're going to go into post-secondary education, if they're going to go directly into the workforce, or maybe even the military. So those are the 3 paths that we really focus on. And I try to let them know, just because you don't have it all figured out, or just because you think, well, I want to be something and I'm not sure how to get there. Well, your next step is all you need to be worried about. How do you get through a forest with fog? Just one step at a time. That's how you get out of there. So what is your next right thing? What is your next right step? That could just be an internship. And I say just an internship because they want to, well, don't we all? We want everything now. I can't even blame them for that. I'm the same way. Thanks, Netflix, for creating that for me, because I just want to keep going and binge everything because we want everything now. Well, we really do serve a now generation. They have grown up, their brains have formed to that. So they think that they are going to graduate and boom, millionaire. That person on Instagram did it. That YouTuber did it. Oh man, that's just not how it goes sometimes. Hard work takes time and growth takes time. We don't like to hear that, but that's reality, and it's really not a bad thing. You grow as you go. So we just want to help them find that next right step, and then we create what we call an ISS, and it's called Individualized Service Strategy Plan, and we help each person where they're at and meet them where their needs are, and then we accommodate them through a plan. And whatever that next step is, we formulate steps to get to that next place. Ultimately, our goal is to empower them. Our goal is to help strengthen our local workforce, especially for our local in-demand industry sectors. We want to supply our area with a skilled workforce that know what it means to be a good employee, they know what it means to add to your community, to be part of your community in a very positive way. So that's ultimately what we do. Who do we serve? Well, okay, we serve at-risk youth, but what does that mean? It means a lot of things, but we do have eligibility criteria that we have to meet. And my good friend Thelma back there, as I was going to say, I'm going to call you out. My sweet Thelma helps me so much with our eligibility. From the Career Center, we work closely with them. So we serve in and out of school youth, 16 to 24. So they might need a high school diploma, a GED, might have some trouble with math or reading. They're juggling the responsibility of a child. They might find themselves without a stable place to live. It can be a lot of things. They might be ADHD. They might, just any kind of barrier really that might hold them back. We serve them. We want them to dream big, but we want them to start small. We set some practical goals, but challenging goals, which is hard because I want to challenge everybody to the 10th degree, and I have to back off sometimes and think, I need to chill out a little bit. But we do want them to recognize their potential, and that means really encouraging them and challenging them to see that themselves. We want them to develop positive self-talk. We are our own worst enemies. I know I am. I can't tell you how many times somebody's told me that, and I tell people that all the time. You are your own worst enemy. Get out of your own way. And then we want them, yes, this is your reality. Yes, you qualify for this program because you're low income and you have, this and the going on and that going on. But you know what's great about that? I get to say, the thing that you felt always held you back? Well, now it's the thing that's giving you this opportunity. What a gift. So how do we practically support our students? We work so closely with the Anniston Career Center, and we're so thankful for our relationship and partnership with them. Sherry and Thelma are fantastic. We navigated this whole thing together starting out, and we grew together. So they do determine eligibility. We determine suitability, which is not always easy. We just want to make sure, of course, that they are going to be the right fit for our program, and they help us with the eligibility part of that. We collaborate with participant outcomes. So this includes like work-based learning, on-the-job training, and ITA opportunities. We want to give our students real-world experience. So we have made some changes. We're really excited to implement those next year. We feel like our students need to be equipped with skills, with some skill, and, again, in an area of their interest. But instead of just talking to them about financial literacy and talking to them about time management and all those things, which are great and super needed, I wish that we had had more of that and when I was growing up, but again, they're the now generation. Let's equip you with a skill. Let's get you out of that environment. And I thought back to myself because I technically was an at-risk youth. That's why I love what I do. But I really couldn't think about my future when I was in my environment. It was clouded, it was unclear, it was confusing, I was worried about other things. So let's flip it. How about we equip you with a skill, we equip you with something tangible and something that you can take with you and make money at. Get you out of that environment, and then let's talk about all the other things. Because now we think you'll listen a little bit better, hopefully. You get what you get out of something from what you put into it. And we really want our students to feel that they are getting something that they can really take with them and move forward and get out of that environment. So these are some fun pictures. We really do want to focus a lot more on tours, industry awareness. But in the past, and this is what we've done so far, we have job shadows for our students. That's my friend Devin over there. He was a firefighter for the day. And we had a student tour Gadsden State skills training and programs. We had, my husband actually got to host one of our students. He was thinking about being a math teacher. He changed his mind, and I was like, Chase, what did you do? What did you do? But he actually decided he wants to be a police officer. He had a fabulous job shadow experience with the Anniston Police Department. This was at Worlds of Work. This is my sweet friend, Carson. We go and look at Gadsden State, tour around. We have, again, more job shadows. If they need boots or anything like for work that will help equip them for what that next step is and they don't have the money, we have the funds that can provide that. So that's Caleb with his steel-toed boots. He wants to do welding. This is Ginger up here at the top. Ginger's parents said that she would never be able to drive because she was too short. Seriously. Ginger actually came from the Calhoun County Career Academy back there, Mr. Oatridge. Our partnership with them has been so valuable to me and to Workforce. But, oh man, Ginger, she's been with me for a little over a year now. She's on our follow-up, and I was a little hesitant to enroll Ginger for many reasons. But my gut told me to bring her on. I'm glad I did. Because a couple of months ago, I took Ginger, and the second time she got her driver's license. That was an adventure, especially helping her learn to drive in a giant truck that we have at United Way. She was really proving her parents wrong, I'll tell you, because there was that little petite girl, and she was driving this big 4-door Chevy truck all around. One day I thought, it's time to put Ginger on the interstate. We were right over there. My life just flashed before my eyes again. And it was pretty scary. I got back to the office and I was just like, nobody speak to me. Nobody talk. I'm having a panic attack. I just cannot believe what I've just done. But she did amazing, and she got her license. And her confidence level she's different. She used to walk around kind of slumped with her head down. Now she stands tall, shoulders up, head back. It's really amazing to see. That's one thing I love about what we do. The self-confidence that they get from this program it's amazing to see that happen. We do this in 3 connection steps. We're going to lighten up on our curriculum a bit. Again, we want to do more skills training. We hope to be getting, it's called Transfer VR. Some of you may have heard about it. It is really cool. It's virtual reality. It's a headset. They can learn skills, learn how to change their oil, learn how to saw. I don't know all the technical terms, but it's pretty cool. And career exploration. So we're going to lighten up on that, but we are still going to be covering through, all these different things. We want to help them know more about themselves, be more self-aware. Of course, we're going to set goals. We're going to do career exploration. We want to, again, focus more on industry awareness. We help build their resume. We work on interview skills, leadership development, work readiness skills, financial literacy, digital literacy. They get a certification in digital literacy, and we do quite a bit. I could talk on this for a while. We, of course, make sure that they get their job shadows done. We want them to do 1 volunteer opportunity. Again, we're trying to build a resume from students that don't really have a lot of experience. We're doing everything we can to help them, equip them with experience. Again, the internships and apprenticeships, and then we want to connect them to their future. So here's the strengths of these steps. They also receive incentives for what they do. So they are paid. It's a free program, and they are paid, which is amazing. So I love that. It's pretty cool when you can give a kid a check and it's not your money, it's somebody else's, and it's so fun because they get to use that money. When we cover financial literacy, if they don't have money, they're now given some, and they learn how to manage what they have. Might not be a lot, but it's something. Again, they develop a sense of self-confidence through our program. It's pretty cool. So we really believe that workforce can be a story-shifting difference between a youth remaining at risk and transforming into a young adult equipped with the next steps to a successful future. Here are some of our students that have been in workforce, and they're now a follow-up. So we have a year that we work with them, and then it varies between, but it could be up to a year, and then after that we work with them for another year in follow-up, and that looks different from everybody. Ronnie's a little cut off over there, but that's Ronnie. Ronnie in follow-up needed my help because he was making so much money at Tyler Union that he did not know what to do with it. And that's a good problem to have, right? Hey, Miss Sunnie, can you help me figure out how to budget all this? Well, we talked about it when he's like, yeah, my money is pouring in. It's a totally different ball game with this budget. So that was really fun. We talk with them at least once a month. I talk with a lot of these more than once a month. This is Sweet Maria over here. Maria is no doubt going to be a doctor. There is no doubt in my mind she's going to be a doctor. She is at JSU, and she's also she just got a job at RMC as a patient care technician. She's going to work nights and go to school during the day. So proud of her. This is Gabe. He took advantage of an ITA opportunity. He didn't know what he wanted to do, and through a job shadow experience with Dunn's, he was able to indicate that and have a certification paid for. And then we have Sandy. Sandy was the very first person to graduate high school in her family. Oh, yeah. And this is I'm like, oof. Love my Madison right here. This is Madison. We're going to talk more about her in a minute. Madison went to Gadsden State and got her skills training. She's a certificate. She did their skills training program. She's a certified nursing assistant. But again, we'll talk more about her in a second. Here's some of our awesome partners. We're so thankful for them and how they equip us to do our job even better than what we could have imagined. If you like, okay, how do I get started with workforce? What do I do? Well, we have a little slip of paper I'll take everywhere I go, and if a student asks, they can scan that QR code. Like Lisa said, we love a QR code, so we have one. They can scan it, and they can fill out a short online interest form that will give us the information that we need so we can kind of reach out and start moving forward with them in the interview process for workforce, making sure that they're eligible, making sure they're suitable. Also, you can just go to our website. You can go to ueca.org, Said that right? Right? Okay, good. UECA.org, and we've got a tab you can click and also fill out the online interest form there as well. So let's talk about Madison real quick, because I love to talk about Madison. Madison came from the Calhoun County Career Academy, and she didn't have a license when we met her, and she didn't have the support to get her license. That was another situation where I had to call and beg and plead to please let me take her to get it. That was my first experience riding with, I got into the car that she was taking to do her driving test, and we went off the road just a little bit one time, and then like a mile we were stopping at a red light that was like way down the line, and that was my first experience with that. But she was fabulous. She did a great job. She got that. See, there you go. I got 10 more minutes. Yes. So she got her license when she was with us. We also we were able to let her high school allowed her to start the CNA program 2 weeks before she graduated. So throughout the summer of last year, she got her certified nursing assistant certification over here, and that was incredible to be part of and see that through with her. It was not, as with any situation with any student, it's not always easy. They have so many challenges working against them. A lot of times it is themselves or the people in their environment. Madison really didn't know what she wanted to do either when she first started with workforce, but through the personality assessments and the career exploration, she also determined that is what she wanted. The day that she got this little letter from Gadsden State saying that she was enrolled and ready to go in the skills training program, she wanted me to print it out and made her picture and made a really big deal about it. I helped her go and tour the CNA program in Gadsden to help her kind of get used to the environment and know where she was supposed to go and everything on her first day. That was when she got her driver's license. So, yeah. I guess I have her story here, and I do have a few more minutes. I'm just going to read it, okay? I think we've got time, right? Okay, because I was at 20, I think I'm good. Okay, so this is Madison's story. She wrote this and blew me away. And just I'll give you the update after the story. Okay. In March 2021, I joined Workforce Connections at United Way. And since then, I have become a confident young woman, and I already feel successful, something I've never felt until now. Since the age of 6 years old, I have struggled. A few years ago, my struggles were finally given a name, and I was diagnosed with a major depressive disorder, severe social anxiety, and ADHD. Consequently, I was bullied severely throughout my school years, and I just could not understand things like the other students could. It took me longer to learn than those in my class. People belittled me. They made me feel like I couldn't do anything and that I would never succeed. And that is until Workforce Connections. A few short months ago, I still believe that I could not do anything and that I would never be successful. But joining Workforce Connections has changed my entire way of thinking, and it's opened an entirely new chapter in my life. I don't know where I would be without Workforce Connections because I have a whole new confidence level that I never thought that I would have. The fact that all of the Workforce Connection staff are willing to work with me and show me important life skills means a lot to me. Nobody has ever taken the time to work with me due to my learning disability. I don't let my learning disability take advantage of me anymore. I realize that I can do what I set my mind and heart to do, and I have proven that through my time in Workforce Connections. As a result, I have achieved my goal of becoming a certified nursing assistant, and I am now fully employed as a CNA. Now that I believe in myself, I plan to become an RN. Overall, I want to be the most equipped. I've lost my place. Here we go. Okay. Overall, I want to be the most successful I can be and feel more equipped than I ever have to do just that. I love this career because I can now make others feel comfortable and wanted, the way that Workforce Connections made me feel comfortable and wanted. The experience that I've had in Workforce Connections is one of the best experiences I've had in my life so far. They truly helped me to become myself and not what others wanted me to be, because I've gone through some really tough times in my life. I've been in my lowest of lows thinking I would never succeed, but this program has taught me a whole new meaning of life. I can't wait to see what the future holds for me. So Madison is coming into United Way on Thursday to talk about moving forward at JSU to become an RN. She's already been accepted. She sent me a TikTok announcing that she was going to JSU, and she has received a scholarship. to go as well. And that was on her own. I was completely shocked. I didn't know that was coming. And I thought, why did this girl send me a TikTok at 1 a.m.? I woke up, they say there's a certain age where you stop checking your texts at a certain time and you check them, respond at like 7 in the morning. Well, that's what I did. And I was so proud, as I'm proud of all of our students. It is a challenge. It's not easy. I've questioned what I do many, many times. I will not lie about that. I'm not going to lie about that. Okay? But I would do this all over again 1,000 times. Because if you can make a difference in just one life, if Madison was the only person that came out of this, which there's more. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm getting emotional, but if she was the only one, it would be worth every penny. Because we are not just changing one life. She is going to continue to change the trajectory of her family. She's going to maybe have children one day, and she's going to give them what she didn't have. Because somebody believed in her. A program was funded through the Workforce Innovation Opportunity Act that believed in her. And we hope, we're striving to have this program that will equip our local workforce with people just like Madison, that know what it means to be a good employee, that know what it means to be on time, to do the right thing, to strive for excellence when it comes to checking out the trash, to turning in a report. And we cannot wait to see what the future holds. So thank you again, Lisa, for having me and East Alabama Works. It has been a true honor and a privilege, and I appreciate your time. Before I close out, I almost forgot Q&A. What questions do we have? Yes. That's a great question. Thank you. We serve Calhoun County right now. We hope to expand in the future, but as for now, Calhoun County. Thank you. Oh, and that question was, what counties do we serve for our Zoom attendees? Yes, ma'am. That's another great question. So the question was, how many participants do we currently have and how many have we graduated? We have graduated 9 so far. We're working between, I know it sounds weird to say between 13 and 15 right now, but when you work with at-risk youth, sometimes it's like that. You're like, are we in, are we out? We don't know. So we're hoping to enroll a few more and solidify about 15, 16, hopefully before the year closes out. And we'll have some in follow-up, and we're hoping to graduate a good bit of those as well. I can't give you a final number because, again, you never quite know until but thank you for asking that. That was a good one. Yes.
Is this a statewide program or is it just here locally?
We are a youth provider program through the Workforce Innovation Opportunity Act. There are other youth provider programs in the state of Alabama, but we are the only one that I know of that serves in the capacity that we serve. Everybody has their own thing that they do, and this is our own thing. It's just how we've designed our program. Every program design is different. Workforce Connections. Oh, Workforce Innovation Opportunity Act, WIOA. WIOA, yes. So that's fast. Yes, ma'am.
How long do they stay in the program until how many fall they graduate?
Oh, that's another great question. The question was for Zoom people. How do you qualify that they graduate? How long do they stay in the program? That depends for everybody. For our county students, it's ranged from like a cohort. So, fall, and then a spring. We're hoping to make it a year-long program this year for our county students that we're working with. Our out-of-school youth, it just varies based on the need. And what really qualifies them to graduate is solidifying that next step and having them setting out onto that path. There's criteria that we have to meet. Lots of things that I could bore you with, but once we hit those, one's called like an MSG, a measurable skills gain, or an EFL. Once we hit those, we've got what we need, and if we feel that they've gotten what they need, then we feel confident that it's time to graduate, then move them into the next phase of follow-up. Thank you. Any other questions? Those are so good. Thank y'all for asking those. It really clarified a few things. All right. Well, that is all for me. Again, thanks so much.
Thanks, Sonny. Thank you, Sonny. We appreciate that. So the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act, or WIOA, and if you want one more way to call it, we call it WIOA. I don't know where the "we" and WIOA comes from. But so it's kind of used interchangeably. They are federal grant funds that support adult programs, youth programs, and dislocated worker programs. So we thought it would be a great idea to maybe bring some of those programs to you all as our attendees at our quarterly workforce meetings. Because we're here in Calhoun County for this meeting, it was logical sense to have Sunnie and Workforce Connections be our presenter here. At future meetings, you'll hear some of the other programs. One is the Hired program that's in Gadsden, run out of the Atala City Schools. Project Search in Etowah County. It's connected with Gadsden Regional Medical Center, and they're students that have a disability that are in that program. The YES program is in Randolph County, and I got Atala City. SAFE, gosh, don't let Margaret Morton know that I missed SAFE. Save the best for last. How about that? Margaret Morton and the SAFE program, or Sylacauga Alliance for Family Enhancement, is another tremendous program. It serves Talladega, kind of bleeds over a little bit into Clay County, and even serves some out of Coosa County, which is actually in another workforce region. But people that need services don't care about that magical dotted line that's out there. So anywhere we can serve people, we're looking to serve those. So those are our 5 youth programs. At future meetings, you'll hear from those 5. In Calhoun County, we also have an occupational skill provider that's providing skills for construction and office administration in the construction environment. And it's done with the Anniston Housing Authority and West Anniston Foundation. Often these programs are talked around at our Workforce Innovation Opportunity Act, our local area board for Region 2, which is separate from our East Alabama Works Board. But we often talk about those programs, but we want to make sure that those in our area know what's out there and what's available. Abby, I'm going to ask that anybody on Zoom, if they have questions for Sunnie or for Mike Oatridge about the World Games and the Alex experience, they can jot them in the chat box, and we'll be able to field those questions real quick if they have something that they really wanted to ask and didn't have a chance because they were attending via Zoom. We don't want to diminish their engagement with our meeting. I'm going to move on, and they can put the questions in the chat. So a moment ago, Mary was able to bring in some flyers for a clinic, so I have them here at the front. So another victim of COVID-19 was the RAM clinic, or remote area medical clinic. It was being done in Gadsden 2 years ago. It also had to be paused, and so they are bringing that clinic back, and it is going to provide free dental, vision, and medical services. So if somebody is looking to get back in the workforce, they might need to have, a nice smile when they go on interviews, to be able to greet people. They might need, glasses that they can't afford. They might need to have that checkup to make sure that they're healthy to come back to work. So that's one reason why we really value that relationship with Alabama AHEC and Angela Anderson, actually out of Etowah County, handles that program. So we've got some flyers on that free clinic. It is phenomenal. I've seen how they've done these clinics in other areas. It is phenomenal. People will be lining up for hours upon hours in advance to do that, to be able to get those services. Again, all free. And we have a version of the flyer in Spanish. So for those who are Spanish speaking, we also can provide you some information. So I've got them in a manila folder up here, so feel free to come by. We can also put them out in our information after the fact. The clinic is coming up. It's going to be April 23rd, 24th at Gadsden City High School, which is located on Black Creek Parkway. But they're going to serve anybody. It doesn't matter if you're in Randolph County or Clay County. If you need service, they'll be able to take good care of you up there. So that is one thing coming up that was not on your agenda. Want to also kind of hit back on some of the upcoming activities, upcoming events. So leadership skills, again, it is Leadership Skills 2, May 4th, Leadership Skills 3, May 3rd. All the information about the leadership skill classes are on our East Alabama Works website. So that's eastalabamaworks.com. Also a QR code on the back. the STEM Council externships. If you know a science or math teacher in our workforce region, or even in another part of the state, so this is being offered all across the state of Alabama. So if you know somebody in Dothan or up in the Shoals area, tell your friends and share that information with them, because they would be a great candidate to apply for that externship. I also didn't mention about the externships. Because this is done in the summer, guess what? Those teacher externs get cash, get a stipend. They are 9-month employees that typically are taking part in these externships, and they're giving up of their summer time. So there is a stipend to those teachers for that externship. Don't forget for employers to take that non-credential survey or non-degree credentials. We want to make sure to get all of those captured, especially in our workforce region, because every region in the state is a little different. We are very heavy in different areas than Mobile County and Dothan. We want to make sure that we capture what's important here in East Alabama. Sunnie, I love when you talked about, think about the why, and then also how to get there. So that was really exceptional. You also talked about motivation. I think if you go to the World Games and go to the Alex experience, you will find that motivation. Mike, if you need any guinea pigs, again, I'm still waiting for that call. I'll personally be a guinea pig for the korfball. So I asked him why he didn't bring some of those suits with him here today. Probably a little more, than we could probably do here in the room. I want to thank, obviously, Mike and Sunnie. Sunnie also has brought her United Way family with her today. So thank you guys for coming and being a great support system for her. United Way is a great organization, a great agency. I met Shannon Jenkins when I was a loaned exec, and I think Shannon was an intern in marketing, if I'm correct. Probably first day on the job, and I'm glad that I found that connection with you and with United Way. The Oxford Civic Center, so we talked about Worlds of Work earlier and how we had 8,206. We counted every single one of those heads, because if they came, we wanted to make sure they all left also. We didn't want any kids left. Unfortunately, we didn't have anybody left. But before the end of the day on Thursday, which was our last day, the Civic Center was back in business. It's like you never knew that there had been 8,206 students here. So great shout out to our friends here at the Oxford Civic Center. I'm here so often, as is East Alabama Works. I feel like we have a little office here. They were coming in to work on the LCD projector. I feel like we've worn out the LCD projector. I was just proud they didn't ask for us to pay for it. So the City of Oxford is also a great host to any events that we have. One thing, Oxford is the center of our workforce region. So whether you're coming from Fayetteville and Childersburg, or you're coming from West End, this really is the center of our workforce region. That's why we host Worlds of Work here. That's why we do maybe some of our quarterly meetings, here and across the workforce region. We do an annual hiring fair here, so we really strive to hit all of our counties, but really this ends up being convenient for a lot of folks. So we definitely want to acknowledge the significant contribution that the city does. Abby, any questions in the chat box? Okay. Thank you all for attending today. We will have our next quarterly meeting on July 19th. It again will be 1 to 2:30. It will be at a different location, so stay tuned. We are working on a really great location for our next meeting to share some great information that's kind of coming up on the horizon that will really change the trajectory of workforce, especially in our K through 12 schools. I want to thank our East Alabama Works Board of Directors, represented today by Kelvin Wright, our board chair, and the plant manager for Bridgewater Interiors. If you are looking for a job, I bet Kelvin would love to talk to you, or he has a team of people back at the plant who would love to talk to you about employment. So thank you for coming, and we look forward to seeing you in July.